Welcome to Melissa Honey Speaks, where we chat about feminine magic, mindset, and manifesting. I'm your host and feminine magic guide, Melissa Honey. Welcome back to another episode of Melissa Honey Speaks. On today's episode, I want to talk about obligation. I want to talk about it as it relates to relationships and life and career, and as it relates to a show that I watch. So recently I started watching the sequel series to Sex and the City called And Just Like That. And on this particular episode, or the series shows where Miranda Hobbs, she's a lawyer, or was a lawyer. Anyway, she's married to Steve, and she recently asked Steve for a divorce. So Miranda started seeing someone, she met someone that she likes, and she was comparing to her own relationship where her marriage is kind of boring, it's dead. She's looking for more excitement, more fun, more joy, more of these things that she wants, and she still loves her husband. So in this episode that I watched recently, she was asking Steve for a divorce. She told Steve that I love you, but I want more, and she's seen this other person. So it made me think about after I watched the series, I read some of the commentary in the media, writers or people who have opinions about the show. The opinions were that she was really wrong for doing that to Steve, and she treated him so bad, and it was so wrong for her to do that. And maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. It just depends on how you look at it. And so my thought was, well, she's unhappy for one. She wants more, and Steve seemed to be pretty happy with the way the marriage is right now, and she's not. So you have these two contrasting ideas. He's satisfied with what's going on, she isn't. So the idea is, or my thought was, when is obligation too much? So are we obligated to stay with someone because we've been there so long? Are we obligated to stay with someone because we have children? Are we obligated to get married because, well, we've been together so long, we might as well get married, or we might as well be together? Are we obligated to jobs because we've been there so long and they pay us our paycheck every week? And are we obligated to stay there because they've been quote unquote nice to us, or because they've loved us? When does obligation overstep into a disservice for ourselves? When does it become a point where we can no longer say, I can stay here because I feel loyal to this person, or I'm obligated to this person? Because what about obligation to our own happiness and our own joy? What about the being loyal to ourselves, understanding what we want and how that's important as well? It's important that we love and respect people for who they are, but it's also important that we love and respect ourselves for what we desire as well. So if we're in a place of obligation, does that really satisfy the person that we're with? Is it okay for us to feel obligated to be with someone because we've been together, we've been married for so long? So Steve and Miranda have been married for a long time. They have a son that's like 18 years old. So should she feel obligated to stay because they have this life already built together? Or should she really take into account the fact that she is unhappy and she wants something more and something different? And why is that wrong? There isn't any right or wrong to me. It's just that she's saying, I want something more, and that's okay. Obligation is heavy. It's a heavy feeling. Sometimes it causes people to feel resentful and have resentments towards others. And who wants that? I wouldn't want someone to be with me because we've been together so long, so we might as well. I want them to be with me because they love me and care for me and want to be with me, not any other reason. So obligation kind of is not a good enough reason to be with someone, and obligation kind of sets us, gives us what's the word I want to say? It makes us feel like, oh, well, might as well stay here. It makes us complacent, I guess, with being in a certain situation. It doesn't allow us to grow and expand. We just say, oh, well, it's here, so we'll just love it because we're here. So that brings us to another point about obligation and staying. And when Miranda, in this situation, Miranda said that she loved her husband. She said, I love you, but I want more. Like I said, he's pretty comfortable being in the situation that they're in, but she is not. So what should she do? Should she just stay and be unhappy because she wants more? oftentimes we get into these situations where we are in relationships, we're in careers, we're just because we feel obligated to stay. And so so the question is, I want to share with you is, when does obligation become a disservice to ourselves? When does staying somewhere become a disservice to ourselves? When? And so when do we decide that we're going to look at ourselves and say, you know what, I want to be happy for me. I want to do what makes me happy, what brings me joy. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that people should do more of that, because once we start doing more of the things that make us happy and bring us our authentic joy and happiness, then we can see where obligation isn't as necessary. We don't have to stay in situations that don't make us happy. We can say, oh, I like this. I want to be over here with that instead, or I want to have this experience instead of that old experience. But then also brings me to the topic that I talk about sometimes, which is polyamory. So in this situation, like I said, Miranda says she loves her husband, but she wanted something else. He's pretty satisfied with their relationship. She isn't. So is that a reason for them to break up? Is it? Does it have to be? It doesn't have. I mean, of course it can be. It obviously normally is for monogamous relationships, but does it have to be? Do they have to break down their whole entire lifestyle, the whole entire life, because he's happy and she isn't? She loves him and he loves her. So what's the difference? So my thought was, well, this is the reason why polyamory is important to me, is because her wanting something more doesn't negate her feelings for her husband. She still loves him and cares for him, but she wants something more. So it's like with polyamory, it's the same concept, the same idea, is that I can have, because we're not limited to this small little cup of love that we can only have here. And so once it's full, that's all we can have. If that was the case, we would never love our children. We would never love our spouses, because we have all this love. We have our love for our parents, our love for our siblings, our love for whatever, food, clothing, all these things. And then we put it into this one little ball, and that's all we have. And then we couldn't have any more of that. That wouldn't make much sense. So it means that love is constantly expanding and growing, and we constantly are changing. We're evolving as a people, all individuals are always growing and evolving. So why isn't it that we can't expand and grow in the way we love and care for other people? So my thought on watching this episode was that why should they have to change who they are to be who they are, right? So what I'm saying is that so he's happy, she isn't. Why should they change that when she could just say, well, I want this as well? And that's the idea around poly, is that I can have this and this and this and this, and nobody is feeling left out. Nobody's feeling obligated to stay in situations or obligated to be a certain way just because society tells us it has to be that way. Our religion tells us it has to be this way, or all these things are telling us it has to be this one way, when we can make our own choices and decisions, and we can make our own rules for life, because love is an ever expanding, ever evolving energy that we can have for more than one person. We show that every day in our everyday lives, is that we can love more than one person. Everyone does. So the idea that she did him wrong was not bad, because based on monogamy, she shouldn't have to stay there, because she can't stay there because she wants someone else too. So it's like this idea of separate but not, because, well, she's wrong because she did him wrong because she likes someone else, but she still loves him, so she's not really wrong, is she? So my thought is that, one is that obligation can make us be deserving to ourselves. So we're not serving ourselves properly when we feel obligated to be in situations that don't serve us, and we're not expanding and growing the way we desire to be, whether that's love or whatever it may be. If we're not expanding and growing, then we're underserving ourselves. And number two is that love is the energy. that can grow and grow and grow and grow, and there is no stopping it. We don't have to put it in just this one little box or this one little cup, and that's all we have. It can grow and grow and grow, and because it's growing, it doesn't mean that we love or care about other people less because we love someone also. It's like, instead of saying either or, it's more like this and this. I can have this and this. So food for thought is that don't feel obligated to be in situations that you don't want to be in. Understand that if you want to be in a situation, want to be there. If you love someone, love them. And don't let love be this kind of confined energy that can't grow and expand, because of course it can expand. You can have love continuously, eternally, forever for many things and many beings, because that's who we are as humans. We are energetic beings that can expand and grow and evolve through the times, no matter what. So, food for thought. Thanks for joining me today.